want to see the legendary Aaron Skates.
Oh, don't say my name on there. Max, so
yes,
there are a few questions from the chat here. A lot of people very excited about the new music coming out. Could you tell them just a bit about where it's coming from and how long you have been waiting to release this stuff? Is something that Emily T-Sign has asked. She read on your website that you wrote the album a few years ago. So what does it feel like to finally release it?
Okay, Emily T-Side, this one's for you. Yes, it's a very good point actually, because all the material is actually, it's a lot of what's been taken from, it's literally over writing material for the last 7 years, where I've luckily had the pleasure of traveling to lots of different places and been seeing lots of different things and experienced lots of different things in all these different locations, and effectively written material throughout all of the travelling around. Some of it has been made in hilarious situations where it was in the middle of a rehearsal for something else, but because we were so far away from each other during the rehearsal, I was able to make songs in between the times I was needed, and it's kind of, so that's why it has a very eclectic aspect, and it goes in a lot of different areas because of how the length of time, the different places and the different situations which it was all kind of made effectively. Yeah.
So how many songs are there that are going to be on this project?
I think there's 14 on this one. 14. I think it's 14, but like one of them I think is just a theme tune for an amazing radio show called Bludio FM, which you may have heard of if you heard any of the announcements, which you may have done over last year, which was happening during the making of the album. But yeah, it's one of these things where it's like you can make a material, you can make an album in a space of a month, or you can spend years doing it, and it's all about what works best for what you want to do. And I kind of would like to just do something that just does all manner of different things as opposed to just being one constant focused thing. So great. Yeah, so 14 I think, but one of them's a theme tune.
Fab. Emily also wants to know, which I think is a great question, what your favourite song on the album is. If you could pick one, or maybe there are many. Oh,
okay. My favourite song that's a really good question, because it's one that I actually just genuinely like listening to from time to time. I really like listening to Love's Young Dream, because Love's Young Dream was written it was a sad realisation of things, but then I decided to make it sound joyous at the same time, because all realisations can be joyous as well as sad. But I actually genuinely, also, it was incredible engineering, and the sound, there's so many sounds in that particular song, like the production really goes all over the place, and it features my mum singing in there in the background in the end, and brothers playing drums, and there's all manner of things going on, and that I enjoy listening to that one.
Because there's quite a few members of your family involved in making this whole set of tracks, aren't there?
Yes, yeah, there is, yeah. Well, because because it's we have a recording studio. It's a family. The family has a recording studio that my mum started building, I think, 20 years ago, I think. And it's like a train set. You just buy one track here, one bit of station here, you buy one thing there. So like buy an amazing DI or a piano. Or you just keep building over and over the years. And my dad's has become he's an amazing engineer and producer. So, and my brother's a drummer. So we are a musical family, which is how, not in the kind of classically trained sense, but more just we are real fans of music. So pursue it. So that's that. Yeah.
Great. And we're releasing the tracks as they come out in kind of a slightly unconventional way. So people who are waiting for Love's Young Dream might have to wait a little while to hear it. Would you just let people know kind of how we're going about doing that?
Oh, well, it's not coming out for a while. Oh, well, basically how it works is each song is coming out after a couple of weeks from the previous one. So it's kind of like this. It's a bit like if you were watching Friends when it first came out. which would have meant instead of on Netflix, which meant that you had to wait for every episode, or go to Blockbusters and rent the first series, which was a thing that you could do. So it's a bit like that, I suppose. But there's all manner of wonderful, interesting things that are going to happen in between. And but Love's Young Dream is, it's a bit further down the line, but it is there nonetheless.
Fantastic! Can't wait for that one to come out. There's a few more questions here. I'll just go back through them. So Daisy wants to know.
Okay.
This is quite a
all right,
quite a big one. But who, if you could say, is your biggest musical inspiration?
Oh, that's a really tough one. There isn't actually a person specifically. I suppose I could say my family members are huge musical inspirations because we were living with each other, and anyone who is a real fan of music and a musician, I find always inspiring. I found Rick Ellsworth's playing incredibly inspiring. Anyone you can really tell when you're playing with someone who's really loves what they do, and it's always exciting, I think, to experience. But I'd say there's a few kind of key. There's actually more like key moments. For example, I'm a huge fan of Bernard Edwards. He defined how I play the bass effectively, as well as learning from my dad, who's also a bass player. And then there's Laura's. It's Laura's moment in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Cheer Up Charlie. Her performance. She only sings that one song. I don't know what other song she's ever sung in the whole of time, but that one bit really helped me with my voice. Because it's hard to, sometimes when you're just building a voice, it's quite difficult to find where you can place yourself. Yeah. So there's a few just moments like that. That's all I can think of right now. So yeah. That's
amazing, because there's also a question here about your voice and how you're able to sing so high. Is there a kind of technique to it, or how did you sort of develop that?
Oh, well, that's interesting. So basically, your voice is a certain shape. And there isn't always a huge amount you can do about that. Like, I haven't really got anything in the low end. So I'm not very strong down there, so I have to practice to get stronger down there. I naturally just have a relatively high, but it isn't that high. It's not like Mariah Carey, but it's pretty high. And but really, you just have to practice going up the octaves. But this discovering the shape of your voice is a journey in itself. And sometimes it really is good, because you can work out things you just can't do. It's really handy to go, oh, I can't do that kind of thing, or I can do that kind of thing. And that's right. Yeah, that's how that is.
That's really interesting. And your songwriting as well. Were you always a songwriter? Where did you start writing songs initially? Because as you said, it's been a little while for some of the tracks on this one, but were those some of the first songs you ever wrote, or?
Well, basically, because it's the first load of material coming out, and there's actually loads of story and loads of journey. Like, there's this song called Summer Job, which was actually the first one I think I actually finished. It's the first one that I made. I remember I was in a hotel in Portugal, and I had a keyboard and a laptop, which meant that you can get some sketchy sounds and just do stuff, and I was able to finish a song, and that song was the first one, so I thought that should just go in there. And but that was it. It's one of these things, you don't just fall out of bed. It's not like Elvis, he didn't just fall out of bed wiggling his knees going, it's actually worked on. So your songwriting is the same. You have to start and not mind that when you're starting and you're unsure about what it is, just finish it and then judge it afterwards. That's the way it works. You feel around in the abyss, grab something, finish it, and then judge it afterwards. So that's how my songwriting's kind of gone over the time of as it's been. But no, I didn't always necessarily. I've always been a musician. I've always worked in different bands and numerous outfits, but I didn't specifically write songs as such until a number of years ago. I can't remember, but yeah.
Great. Should we leave it there? Is that all right? Maybe a couple more questions. Just someone wants to know your best. Well, I'll leave you with this one.
Okay.
What's your best Aperol spritz you've ever had, and where was it?
Do you know what? The best Aperol spritz I ever had was in Milano, and it was in. Do you know the best apple spritz? Right, is you just get those. There's it's just a cafe on a corner by a busy junction. Actually, I think it might have been opposite the Rye 2 studio because it's in just a certain part of town. And it's just a little cafe, and I think it's family run, and there's the family's in there, everyone's just hanging around, and you just get one. But in the afternoon, about 2 p.m., you just get one, and it's just the best. It's the best thing ever. You get really expensive, like pricey flash ones in the hotels and stuff, but they're not as good. You want one of those. So that was in Milano, and it was last year. I don't remember the date exactly, but it was. I could find out. I'll go back. I could probably find out.
That's fantastic. Okay, let's leave it there. That was really
Great.
Special to hear that, and so good to have you back in. I just can't wait for the music to come out. Thank you so much.
How exciting! Exciting things on the horizon.